All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is General Greene 1000X promised a video today. I've been doing a lot of traveling, but here I am. So big news. Donald Trump, who called the US stock market overvalued several years ago, will now be, in my opinion, inheriting a massive stock market crash and collapse the second he gets into the White House. In fact, Donald Trump has even mentioned this himself, saying he does not and he would hate to be a Herbert Hoover president, meaning Herbert Hoover inherited the 1929 great stock market crash and Great Depression in the United States, the worst economic financial period, arguably in American history, where people went without food, they went without housing, stockbrokers were throwing themselves outside of windows. Of course, it took World War II to exit the 1929 stock market Ponzi scheme debt collapse run by the bankster class on margin and all the same problems that we currently have today. Nothing has really changed in 70 years or whatever it has been. So I see this as a major issue because I see a lot of people, they're counting that once Trump gets in, they think that everything that will be fixed. The wall's going to go up, in a year. There will be peace and prosperity in the Middle East. The wars will end in Gaza. The tension with Iran will end. The war in Ukraine will end suddenly. And that everything is just going to be this perfect bed of roses. Well, I would actually beg the exact, complete, 100% diametric opposite. I actually think that the deep state, the second Donald Trump is solidified as the next president of the United States, his second term, which is actually what I think they want, they're going to use him as a massive scapegoat to collapse the entire system, send America into World War III, the official announcement of it in the mainstream media. They're going to crash the stock market, this massive Ponzi scheme that central banks have been running pretty much our entire lives. Now, keep in mind, even during Donald Trump's presidency, he did print more debt than any other president before him. This included Obama and George W. Bush. The bailouts were significant as a part of the 2020 lockdowns, and we are now living through the ashes and remnants of this massive scam that is being run by the Federal Reserve and central banks, not just here in the United States, but worldwide. So my message is, I believe when Trump gets in, that'll be when the rug pull truly hits. Again, they're going to need a scapegoat. They've got to blame somebody. Trump will be the perfect person to blame. He has no control over the stock market. He even said himself that he believes stocks were overvalued years ago. He also called Bitcoin a scam. He's changed his opinion on that. Now, we have canary in the coal mine signs everywhere. I told you to keep your eye on NVIDIA stock, which has now circumvented Microsoft as the #1 market cap company in the world. It's eclipsed $3.33 trillion in market cap today, up only every single day. Watch NVIDIA stock, it breaks a new 52-week high. Its stock chart is a giant tulip mania bubble. You've never seen anything like this in history. Doesn't look healthy at all. And like I said, the only reason NVIDIA stock is trading as high as it is because of blockchain technology and Bitcoin and the tokenization of our entire financial system soon to be. Keep in mind that NVIDIA makes all the microprocessors, all the technology that mines the crypto, much like the US Treasury Department prints fake currency in US fiat dollars, which are going to zero. Again, I'm expecting housing to move up another 5-10x by 2030. Notice that the 2030 agenda, what they told you was a conspiracy theory, seems to be playing out perfectly. They're getting rid of real food. They're replacing the food supply with fake meats. They're actually moving to bugs and crickets, quite literally. This is not a conspiracy theory. They've now introduced bird flu, which is just another hijacking of the food supply and the food system, so Bill Gates and others that have invested billions of dollars in synthetic derivatives of fake foods that cause cancer and other illness can be mainstreamed to the masses. In addition to that, through economic financial warfare and the scam that is fiscal, monetary, banking policies at the central bank, they've created such an affordability crisis that the average family will have to buy fake foods and will have to buy crickets in order to feed their families. Again, prices aren't going up, it's the US dollar collapsing. Home prices aren't rising, it's US fiat trash, hyperinflationary currency that's going to zero. You have the whole world pivoting against the United States. Most of the world hates the United States guts. We just had Putin arrive in Pyongyang, however you say that, in North Korea. Just visiting him, probably giving more information, more proprietary technology for nuclear weapons. You see Saudi Arabia, which is now pivoting against the West, refused to attend the G7 meeting. We also had a huge shot across the bow recently with the US and its allies stealing $50 billion worth of Russian asset reserves, then lending that out after confiscation to the Ukrainian government in the form of debt loans. Now, this means every other country, any other country, even if you were a business, is now moving their money and their financial reserves outside of the petrodollar, outside of the United States, to prohibit the risk of asset seizure. You see, the US government just proved they will seize your money and take the accounts of other countries as they see fit during war. Now remember, during war, there are no laws, there are no rules. This is why Israel can drop as many bombs as they want on Gaza. This is why the United States is funding weapons of war through a proxy war in Ukraine, with drone strikes, with anti-missile defense systems, having installed a fake actor leader puppet in the name of Zelensky, who's stealing trillions of dollars worth of taxpayer money wealth to fund a war most Americans don't even support. We haven't supported you from day one, only cucks do. We want our money back here in the United States of America. We want to make our country great again. We want real wealth. We want true prosperity. There are only two sexes, in my opinion, male and female. There is no confusion. Again, the rest of the world is laughing at the United States of America. Again, we are in a real slippery slope here because so many Americans falsely believe that the second Donald Trump gets into office, that it's going to be lollipops, gumdrops, and chocolate espresso martinis. I think that this couldn't be any further from the truth. I'm personally, seriously, I'm exaggerating a little bit because nothing scares me, but I am terrified of what will happen when Donald Trump gets into the White House. Because if the deep state is real, like Trump says, they are going to crash this entire financial economic system in your face. There will be bank runs in the United States as a result, capital controls, world war. And guess who they're going to blame? Donald John Trump. If you buy into the two-party fake illusory system, which I don't, if you actually believe the Republicans and Democrats are different, and I don't. Again, Donald Trump loved Democrats, loved the Clintons, flew on the Jeffrey Epstein jet multiple times. Like, you didn't think he didn't know what he was doing? Come on. This is the guy that hangs out with supermodels 24/7. Nothing wrong with that. But let's be real here. If you believe that the two-party system is real, then wouldn't you also agree that the deep state will launch every single possible attack on Donald Trump once he gets into the White House? Once Joe Biden is thrown into a geriatric insane asylum for having massive aggressive dementia, do you not think that the deep state would act? Now, I don't believe in any of that. I just think it's a part of the plan. I believe that the real owners of America, which is not the Republican or Democrat Party, it's the owners that own the Republicans and own the Democrats. It's multinational corporation oligopolies that fund and make money on both sides of this war. It's the bankster class and the private central bank that is unelected and has no vote, that manipulates and scams with interest rate policy, printing of currency, and printing of fake debt that's really in charge, and its owners. So it's going to get really, really bad. And again, the trend is your friend. Expect more hyperinflation. Expect more commodity price hikes. Expect not to afford food. Expect more bird flu, virulent diseases to be planted. And you know what? What part of this don't you people understand? I know you understand. I know my audience gets it. You've been with me since 2008 and 09. I've been raging against the machine for nearly 20 years now, telling you the truth. And now I'm telling you to peacefully fight back. You need to get your money out of the banks. You need to be keeping up with inflation. You need to be investing into real estate. Tokenized at islandproject.com. You need to get out of a system where you have no control or sovereignty over your own funds. You need to do this now before Donald Trump is selected and they dump the entire stock market. What comes up will come down. I mean, I'd like to show you this chart here for a minute. Unbelievable. Again, NVIDIA stock is now worth more than Microsoft and pretty much any other company worldwide. It is a parabola. I don't have it on my screen. Maybe I can find it here on my X account. You can see Vladimir Putin in Pyongyang, or however you say it, meeting Kim Jong-un. You know, at least Donald Trump tried to negotiate a little bit. So here's what's going to happen. Great Depression in the United States. Total pump and dump. Worse than 1929. Donald Trump will be installed as leader for a short 4 years, then he'll be booted out. He'll attempt through the art of the deal to negotiate. You know how Trump is. He's going to waddle around and attempt to negotiate for peace in the Middle East, for peace and prosperity in Ukraine. Here's what's going to happen in Ukraine. Putin's already won. It's going to be like North Korea, where Putin's got like the entire eastern side of it, and the west side is a failed state run by the West that is, on fumes. So it's going to be basically militarized permanently. So that's what all of you are going to get in Ukraine for all your taxpayer wasting freaking dollars that have been spent on your behalf without a single vote. You're going to get a militarized zone. Not to mention Iran is positioning with its proxies now. Pray against this, but it wasn't an accident that the president went down in that tragic helicopter crash. There will be repercussions for that. Again, Americans need to understand this. While you're watching Netflix, getting fat on the couch, okay, while you're not fighting back and while you are complying, there will be consequences to your actions. There will be consequences by your endorsement of these wars in Ukraine for not speaking up against it. There will be consequences financially for not getting your money out of the bank. There will be consequences for your children and their freedom and their right to life, liberty, hope, and a free country because of your inaction. I encourage you to stand up with the real American ballers. I encourage you to grow diamond nuts. By the way, massive opportunities in crypto right now. Basically, what we're seeing across the board is a massive buying opportunity. Bitcoin's trading at 65K. We're going to see a huge move into the summer months as fiat currencies continue to collapse. You know, the markets are very volatile. If you've been at school with me for the last decade, you know this. That's why I set all of you up. And this is my not financial advice, but I've been doing this for decades now. I always tell people, build a diversified portfolio with no leverage. You want to be holding most of your positions in Bitcoin and the other large market cap coins like Ethereum, XRP, which we're getting finalization on a lot of that lawfare that had been going on. Really super great news. And then you want to spread out into other technologies with higher volatility and higher risk. Again, you get paid to wait by holding high volatile assets like Bitcoin. The Bitcoin standard will replace the oil trade. You do understand this, right? Bitcoin will replace the petrodollar as the medium of exchange for Saudi Arabia, for Iran, for the Eurozone, for the United States. This is why Donald Trump wants to bring back all Bitcoin mining operations to make America great again with the Bitcoin standard. Again, he's been late to the curve on this. God bless him. We welcome you aboard, Donald Trump. You got a measly 4 years to attempt to build your whole wall and, declare peace and negotiate the aftermath and the aftershocks of what will be an imminent Taiwanese invasion by China. China, in my opinion, will act very, very soon, probably in the summer months, either this month, June, and or July, in my view. Because again, it's the perfect scapegoat. Boot Biden's dumbass out, install Trump, which is what the deep state wants. Then dump this Ponzi scheme on America's head. There will be calamity, much like there was in 2020. They did it before. They left Trump with a complete disgrace of an economy. They left Trump with lockdowns, confusion, Operation Warp Speed, Fauci, standing right next to him, making stuff up and pulling stuff out of his butt that had no basis in scientific fact at all. So for you to not think that they're going to do this again, you're wrong. I'm honestly terrified. The second Trump gets in, all hell is going to break loose in the United States of America. So my question for you is, are you ready? Are you getting ready? Is your money out of the banks? Do you got your preps? Do you've got food, water, diversification? Get out of debt. This is why my portfolio at islandproject.com, $33.5 million, run by me and my beautiful team and my father, Papa John, has no debt because we already know this. 5 to 10x capital appreciation by this time in 2030, which is the agenda. They told you you will own nothing and you will be happy. Are you awake? Do you understand? Do you get it? There is no difference between Republican and Democrat. All of it's owned. The late George Carlin knew this. And man, he must be turning in his grave. As he said very famously once and many times before, it's one big club and you ain't in it. As we move through the AI takeover, as OpenAI moves into a for-profit company, which will be self-incentivized to eradicate any competition, just like NVIDIA, just like Microsoft, just like Google, will reach the singularity, many are arguing now, by 2027. This means that AI will reach super intelligence of the highest academic, the highest software engineer, the highest college grad. And here's where it's all going. Guess who's going to be doing the menial labor jobs? Guess who's getting fired? As Donald Trump famously once said, all the Uber drivers, all the people driving Grubhub, all the truckers out there, you're screwed. Whether Trump or Biden or whoever it is gets in. This has now reached a point where there is no moderation of these large companies, which now have carte blanche to overtake the entire planet. Even Elon Musk has suggested that AI could be the entire world population's demise, that it could be Armageddon, that it would be worse than nuclear war or the atomic bombs. I think he's right about that, which is why America, in its fight against other enemy nations, is now being allowed to run rogue, run rampant. Because you have to think about this. If America doesn't do it, China will. If China doesn't do it, Russia will. Vladimir Putin has famously said, he who controls the AI algorithms in the future will own the world. They will be able to launch drone swarms and decapitate any opposition. You don't even need soldiers anymore. All you need is Anduril drones. All you need is the surveillance apparatus. Another reason why they want you in your homes consuming Netflix, doing nothing while they take over. The menial jobs, the labor jobs will be left for the general people. All the high-paying, intelligent, technological developments will be taken over single-handedly by companies like NVIDIA and also others like Sam Altman's OpenAI. It will have no regard for human life at all. There's not going to be any kind of moral, ethical boards to discuss it or impact any kind of real change, even though they say that they're going to attempt to do that in Washington. It'll be too late. It already is too late. Even Bitcoin was an open source Trojan horse seed planted by DARPA and AI technologies years ago. I always told you this. And then it would circumvent fiat currencies, collapse the modern system, move us into a technological hyperinflationary age, into the cementation of the new world order, which is where you are now. You want to be an owner, just like these people. Become one now at islandproject.com for just 30 units minimum. Stand up for Christ. Stand up for Jesus. Only kneel for him. Be peaceful about it. Be intelligent about it. Don't waste your time with a stupid, nonsensical, fake vote in 2024 when you could be taking personal responsibility for your own life, joining like minds, building the building blocks of success, improving the outlook for you and your family and communities, making money, starting businesses, getting rich, learning about crypto. Donald Trump's a billionaire, and it's why he's president. You don't think they just allow you to get in there without being super, super rich. So why aren't you? Again, change your mindset. It is 1,000x mindset. I'm humbled to be here. I love all of you, but this crap is about to hit the fan. It's getting really real. And I'm telling you, Donald Trump is even saying this himself, that he will inherit the biggest 1929 World War III Herbert Hoover style stock market depression and great crash that the world has ever seen. And now I want to leave you with a startling statistic. This is just in and broke earlier this afternoon. Interest payments on the obscene U.S. national debt of $34 trillion, which is more than doubled since the lockdowns in 2020, is now bigger than the entire defense budget. Bigger than national defense. Bigger than, building some wall that's never going to get built. Again, could Trump pull it off in 4 years before? I think he tried. God bless him. I support the cause. But did he pull it off? No. Iranian proxies are now deeply embedded within the United States that, God forbid, pray against it, could activate at any moment as soon as they get the call from the Ayatollah. And you think you're safe? You're not safe. All of that was a lie in 2020. Freedom is danger. Slavery is safety. And here we see the chart from Fred. You can see the enormous debt, not just interest payments, but this massive debt time bomb, which guess when they're going to pull the plug? The second Donald J. gets into the White House, if he even gets that far. Because the deep state will stop at nothing. They will stop and do anything that is necessary for the agenda of the owners. We saw this with JFK. We saw this with civil rights leaders. We saw it with the Iranian president. It's my opinion. I'll say it. That guy was whacked. He was whacked. You are at war. And understand, when your country is at war, there are consequences to war. Are you ready? Are you ready to send your kids to the front line? Are you ready to have your bank account seized here in the United States? Are you ready for another, God forbid, 9/11 to hit your doorstep? Because I'm praying against it, folks. I only kneel for Jesus. We have organized the #1 investment class in the world at islandproject.com for a reason, long in advance, long before people really knew what was happening. I've been telling you about hyperinflation. So has my father. We just bought a brand new ski lodge in Park City, Utah. Become a proud owner along with us. We own 4 other beautiful properties scattered in Maui and Oahu with no bank debt. We're tokenizing this year. Get in, protect you and your families, share the message of hope and the message of love, but also the message of warning. Look, not everybody's going to listen. Most people didn't during the lockdowns. Most people were caught by surprise at the grocery store, masked up, searching for toilet paper so they could wipe their butts. The same thing's going to happen again. It happens when Donald Trump is elected. And then the cord is pulled. Terrifying what's ahead. Links below. Get in. I love you. Please share. They don't want this message of truth out to the American public and you freedom fighters worldwide. I have personally been fighting the deep state for nearly 20 years long now. And I'm 42 years old, more fired up than I ever have before. Testosterone higher than it's ever been before. I've got my father, our thousands of members around the world. And we promote peace, prosperity, God first, faith, success, in everything we've been building here on the Digital Noah's Ark. It's pretty badass. I encourage you to click the link below and join us while you still can, because it's about to be a very turbulent ride. I want to hear what you think. Leave a comment and question in the box below. God bless you. Stay dangerous.